Well, good evening, Adventure family. Coming to you tonight. Honestly, in light of some of the news that was shared today, if you had the chance to tune in to the governor's daily 5 o'clock update, then you know that today he kind of outlined some more specifics in terms of dates and things like that, in terms of who can open when and all that kind of stuff. And today he shared that churches can resume in-person meetings starting on May the 20th. Now, here's what I want you to know. Your church, our elders, your staff, the church leadership, we've actually been working on a plan to reopen Adventure starting back a couple of weeks ago. We started, the elders and I kind of built a framework, and then your staff, who is awesome and have been honestly warriors through all of this and trying to keep things up and running. Over the last week and even yesterday in staff meeting, the whole point of staff meeting, the focal point of staff meeting was beginning to kind of hone in and finalize some of the details on what this could actually look like. And here's the plan. Here's the goal. The goal is by Friday of this week that we will have kind of all of the different ministries in our church, all of the plans to begin to reopen. And then we'll have the opportunity again, just to kind of hone in and fine tune some of the final details so that we can release that information to you early next week. The plan would be to be able to, and we're still figuring out the right format to do this, whether it's through Zoom or Facebook or YouTube, some sort of interactive way that we can have almost like a little church meeting online where we can walk you through, here are the plans to reopen the church in some pretty specific detail. But I do want you to know this, that as we've been thinking through the best way to open our church, we've had kind of a guideline or guardrails of, we want to do this one in the safest way possible. We want to make it possible for people to come back to church and do that safely. The second thing is, we also want to make sure that we are following the guidelines set by our elected officials and people that are in charge. Because if you read the Bible, if you read Romans 13 or 1 Peter 2, you know that there's actually a biblical precedent for kind of following it and going by what the people who are in charge say. Like, there's a reason that we do this. And if Peter and Paul want to talk about the reason to do this, then it's important for us to do this as well. So we want to do it safely. We want to do it in a way that we are abiding by the guidelines and the rules and the things, the recommendations that are set forth by our elected officials. And we also want to do this in a way where nobody gets left behind, right? Because we've made this switch to a digital format, and it's not like we're just going to be able to flip that switch off and the other one on. So we recognize and we realize that there are people who, despite the fact that the church may be opening here in a few weeks, that mass gatherings or getting back together with a group of people is not something that some of us should be doing or could be doing or can be doing, because we fall in some of these more at-risk categories due to pre-existing conditions or age or things like that. And so we don't want to leave anybody behind as well. So those are really some of our three main guardrails. Let's do this safely. Let's do it right. Let's do it based on some of the recommendations and based on the rules that the people who honestly are experts and are in charge are giving us. And let's do it in a way where nobody in the Adventure family gets left behind. And so the plan, like I was saying, is for us this week to, again, kind of iron out some of the final details, especially now that we know that there's a target date in sight. And we were making these plans really not knowing when or how or where things would be able to open up. Well, now we've got a target date in sight, and we can begin to look to that and figure out what's the best way to do this. But also understand too that there's still some more information and there's still some more clarification that we expect to get from the governor and from some of those medical experts and people in charge. And those honestly may change some of the things that we do. And so what we said from the beginning is we're holding on to our plans about this tight. Because we recognize that things may change. And if we've learned anything from 2020 so far, it's that it's predictably unpredictable. And so we want to make sure to stay on our toes. We want to make sure that we can change, that we can scale or tweak or shift some things to make sure that we are doing things in the best way possible. So tonight, really, the thing that I wanted to share with you is, one, we've been thinking about a plan for reopening for a while, and we've been working on that. Again, what's the safest way to do it? What's the right way to do it? And how do we do it to where we don't leave anybody behind? And that our hope at this point is, our plan at this point is to be able to finalize that this week and come up with a way of getting everybody together as much as we can next week, early next week, hopefully by Monday or Tuesday, to be able to let the church know, hey, this is what things are going to look like, and this is what you can expect. Because again, what we've been learning and what we've been hearing over and over and over and over again is, even as we begin to step back into things that may resemble normal, it's still going to be a new normal. It's not going to be like it was. And so understand that what we're doing as we press forward is we're trying to lean into a new normal just as much as everybody else, and what that looks like. And so I'm excited. My phone blew up about an hour ago as people I know in our church were excited to get back together, and I'm probably just as, if not more excited than everybody to be able to see people in our church again. But we want to make sure that we do it right. We want to make sure that we do it safely. We want to make sure that we don't leave anybody behind. And so if anything you take away from this video tonight, it's those three things. And that's what we, your church and your church leadership and staff and the elders, that's what we're committed to doing. So again, look forward to some more communication here later as we get to the end of the week in terms of when, where, and how we're going to be able to roll this stuff out. And early next week, we will all get together virtually to plan out how we are all going to get together for real. So excited for it, and I will see you all later on this week.